What's up, guys? Lucas Stills, Optimum Athletes, here with Austin Roberts, who's in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. Austin, thanks for coming on.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I just kind of want to dive into this. You've had quite the transformation throughout your career. We have a lot of kids in here in the high school or even some college guys that really need to add weight and get stronger, and they're just not strong enough, their bodies aren't fully developed. But you kind of went the other way.
Yes.
Just kind of take us through your story and process and what that was like. And
yeah, of course. I mean, I was always a bigger kid kind of growing up. I think growing up, I feel like from 10 to like 15, it's kind of like, do what you want. You're just playing the game, just having fun.
Right.
And then once you kind of get to high school, it's kind of like that's when things start getting a little bit more serious. I mean, it still took me, till the end of my freshman year of college at Sac State to really understand that if I want to play this game at the next level that I've always dreamed about and talked about, I'm going to have to do some serious changing in my body. Because after my freshman year of college, I was probably 245, 250 pounds. I mean, I'm only 6 foot, so I was a little, short-ish kind of, but I was very overweight. And just having a lot of talks with my head coach, Reggie Christensen, over at Sac State, and, the strength and conditioning guys that we go through at Sac State, Brian Francis down at the academy. Just really understanding that, playing baseball is something that I want to do long-term. So it took me realizing that being 40 pounds overweight, that, my dream's not going to come true if I stick to doing these things throughout my day and throughout my life. So after my freshman year, I was 245, and then I got on a program and, just took life seriously and grew up a little bit and worked out 6 days a week.
Sheesh.
And I mean, it was tough. It was a grind for sure. But at the end of the day, I mean, I look back and I'm very grateful for the experience I've had at Sac State, because it's taught me a lot about, what I do in my career now. And then obviously being blessed enough to play 3 years at Sac State and then being blessed enough to get drafted by the Pirates in the 8th round. So
Definitely.
I mean, definitely comes off, it's definitely a struggle in that category, because I wasn't eating right at all. I was working out, but like I'd go home and eat a lot. So for me, it was just learning how to like count my calories and understanding like what things I should eat. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. And obviously like just the snacking part, like you have to eat. Everybody has to eat 3 meals a day. And I'm still learning that like you need to feed your body in order to have energy to get through your workouts, your hard workouts.
So it's like what you put in your body.
Yeah.
What you're feeding it with.
Yeah, you have to treat your body like a temple. And I know that's a super cliche thing to say, but it's very true. Like if
you only get one body.
Exactly. And you have to, you don't know when your body's going to end, when you're going to pass away and stuff like that. So I just feel like just that self-care that you need to find with yourself for oneself, regardless of, the career path that you're in. I mean, I think it's just good to, eat the right things and just limit the snacking and just working out and doing all that stuff.
So just for comparison, how much do you weigh now?
I weigh 205 now.
205, and definitely more muscular, definitely better body composition, even though you're still 40 pounds less than you were. You don't have to go through your whole diet or anything, but were there any like main things you stuck to, or main foods you ate, or things you stayed away from?
So I don't know. I'm very experimental in my diet. So I think it was before I left for Instructs this past year. I did a week-long juice cleanse.
I remember that. Yeah.
And it wasn't good. Like I lost the weight and kind of cleared my body out, but I didn't feel like strong. I didn't feel like I had a good base. So then right after that week of just a juice cleanse, I went on the carnivore diet, and right away it just felt like I just felt
more
stronger.
Energy.
So I think it's just like having a good balance of carbs, veggies, and protein.
Yeah.
And I think like throughout the day when you get hungry and you want a snack, like, and it's still, I still struggle with it, is like just have like fruit.
Fruit, nuts, carrots, like
just something super small.
Like a Chewy bar or something.
Or some, like a bag of chips or like a candy bar, stuff like that. I mean,
life in moderation.
Exactly. Like you got to understand when you can have these things.
Yeah. Well, I think two things off that. Like one, I know that a lot of people promote this diet or that diet, and a lot of them are super restrictive to the point where people try it for a week, 2 weeks, and then they just kind of break and they feel like failures. But I think, as you said, like if you allow yourself some moderation, like a little treat here or there, or just kind of like, hey, overall I'm gonna eat healthier. What does that look like? Eating out less processed foods, do more cooking, it doesn't have to be like, oh, it's so rigid I can't eat X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
But as long as overall I'm putting better things in my body, you're going to see better changes over time. And the second thing was sort of a trend in at least the last couple episodes on this podcast is the willingness to try new things and not being afraid to fail. Like you said, like, I mean, a lot of people would be like, oh, juice cleanse, I wouldn't try that. But you said, hey, I'm going to do it for a week. Didn't like it, put it away. Okay, let me try this. This worked? Okay, I'm going to stick with this part of it. Or let me try this now. And it's just like seeing what works best for your body.
Exactly. And another big thing too is like we played the game of baseball, and this game is built on countless failures.
Yeah.
Each and every day. As a pitcher, every pitch could be a fail. You throw a ball, it's a fail if you're not trying to throw a ball in that situation. So I feel like I take that mentality into my life too, is like, you know, what things I'm going to try to shock my body to get a reaction in a positive way. So I mean, that's why I did the juice cleanse, and you know, it didn't work out. So now I understand that's not what my body needs.
What when you were 240, 245?
Yeah, 245.
What was your, you know, what was your velo? Were you having like less success on the field? How was your energy level? Like how was that like comparatively to as your journey went along, you started to lose weight?
Yeah, so my freshman year I started, so I mean, already overweight. I was okay conditioned, but not to where I am today. So I'd probably last about 3 innings, 3-4 good innings when I was going good. But I think the hardest thing for me, like I was still throwing hard. I was like 93, 94, maybe touching a 5 my freshman year of college. And I think it was just super hard to keep repeating my delivery. So then once I started getting once I started getting tired, my mechanics would go down the drain. And then I'd start missing arm side, and then I'd start cutting, sinking, like the accidental cut that you don't want sometimes.
Right.
So I just found myself doing that a lot. Like that was happening in a lot of my starts that I had. And then after the transformation and some mechanical changes, you know, it just felt easier to repeat, and I felt I was able to go deeper in games.
Sustain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I think you were telling a story the other day. Was it like one of your starts your junior or something where you went 7 innings and you held like 95 to 96 or something pretty much the whole time? So obviously, what was your weight around like your junior year, 2 years later?
215 was my that's like my goal playing weight. Obviously, you fluctuate up and down every like 5-10 pounds up or down. But I think 215 is my good playing weight, and just training super hard in the off season is very important, because if guys slack off, like you're gonna see it come the tail end of the season.
It's a long season.
Because everybody at the beginning of the season, everybody's fresh and stuff, but like towards the tail end of the season, like guys start dying out just because they don't really grind hard enough in the weight room like they should.
They don't have the ability to sustain it.
Yeah. Like you said, 2 weeks and then they start being spotty with their stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you talked about diet, but obviously like a complete body change or just overall performance, athleticism change is going to take a lot more than just diet.
Yeah.
What kind of things were you doing in the weight room? I know you had a pretty strict mobility program, or you go to yoga class, or what exactly it is?
It's called, it's like FRC, and then the class I actually go to is called Kin Stretch.
Okay.
So I usually go, we've done it at Sac State. Sac State does a great job of implementing like range of motion and like increased mobility. So I got introduced to that, I think it was around my sophomore year of college, and it was super bad internal, external rotation of my hips. You know, I didn't know a lot about like my scap could move this way, my shoulder could move this way, just a whole bunch of little, you know, things that may be little on the outside, but come to performance on the field, it makes a big difference.
Definitely.
So, I mean, I've been very consistent in the mobility aspect of, you know, getting better and increasing my range of motion. And, I mean, it doesn't take a day. Like, Rome wasn't built in a day.
All right.
So, it's just having that constant, like, you know, self-determination and self-management and ownership of, you know, what I'm doing today is going to help me come when it's time for me to prepare for the game and stuff.
Well, that's something that, you know, Steve and myself have kind of noticed in the gym where, you know, not to name names, but certain either high school kids or people that aren't having the success they want or the training benefits they want, even though they think they're putting in the time. We'll see them walk in the door, and then 10 minutes later, they're on the plyo wall. And then on the same day, we'll see guys that are either like performing at the highest level D1 or, you know, minor league guys or pro guys like yourself. Well, they'll come in, and it's like an hour before they're even on bands because they're doing their mobility work, they're doing their prep work, they're putting the time in. And it's like this high school kid that's in here for an hour total versus this kid that's a pro guy that's in here for 4 hours. It's like, I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, I think it definitely goes from a maturity level too, and understanding where you are in your life, because, you know, everyone's body starts deteriorating, And I think just working out, eating the right things, and just having self-love and self-care, I think that grows a person and ultimately grows a player on the field too. So I think it definitely goes into a maturity standpoint. And when I was 16-year-old, I recovered so much better than I do now at 22. So I think it just it takes a time and place for everybody to realize where they're at in their career, whether
what they're willing to put into
a
it.
freshman in high school or they're a vet in the big leagues for 10 years.
Right. I think that also from a mental side, now if you hit the field and I put in 4 hours a day for 6 days a week for the last 4 months.
Yeah.
I think it kind of gives you that confidence, almost like centeredness or calm, like, hey, like I prepared for this, I'm ready for this.
Yes.
Where it's like in the back of your head, if I skipped out on my lifts or whatever, you're like, the second you start to throw one ball or things start to hit the fan, you're like, oh wait, maybe I'm not prepared for this.
Exactly.
So there's so many aspects to it. But also, just you've only been here for a couple of months, but seeing the work you put in Monday through Friday, and then Saturday you get up at like 6 to go to kin stretch.
Yes.
I think it is. Where a lot of guys are like, I need my weekends off. I put in 5 hard days of work. I can rest. So the small things like that is definitely like making the difference. And we see it with your hip internal rotation. It's something that's like crazy. We haven't seen like anyone else. And you just popped a 97 out in Instructs.
Yeah.
Or the fall league.
Instructs.
So obviously you're throwing well. You're looking good. Ready to get after it. 100 soon.
100 soon. That's the plan.
I think we're almost out of time. But anything else you got? Some parting words?
I don't think so, man. Like I said, just know what works best for your body and completely just buy into that process. And obviously be all ears, like just be coachable, be open to trying new things. I feel like at the end of the day, we're all here for the common goal, and it's to play in the big leagues. And you guys run a great facility here, you and Ryan and Steve and Zay, and you guys just do a great job of helping guys get to the next level and get better and make people's dreams just one step closer. So it's a great job. I'm very blessed and happy that I've come across this place. And
Well, thank you, sir. It's been fun having you here.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to watching you show this year and seeing the big league soon.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Austin. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.